Sorry guys, apparently there's no sound. Try to get this right. All right. Yeah. So, like I said, let's say that again now. The S&P had a nice session yesterday. Kind of really pushing up there at the close. All the sectors managed to gain. I think Friday's unemployment data is not going to be reported. So ADP numbers tomorrow are going to be, I think, the ones that are really going to be important. They're going to be the ones that the market's going to be paying attention to. So that actually kind of ups the scale for that tomorrow. We didn't get we haven't had any follow through to the downside on the back of the shutdown, but like we said yesterday, there was, the previous couple times that we did this, or that we had shutdowns back in '95 were the last times the market actually managed to rise during those government shutdown periods. So, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the end of the world here. I think as long as we don't get too far into the back end of the year, close to the budget, to the debt ceiling talks, then I think we'll be okay. But the back half of the month, I should say. And then I think we'll be okay. But if we do get closer to the back half of this month and we're still at a government shutdown, then I think things could get quite ugly. So we're going to have to wait to see how that progresses. Asia, we had a bit of mixed action there. Japan actually got hit pretty hard, down 2.2% as we speak. Australia down a touch. Some of the other markets up, but some of the markets were closed yesterday. So a bit mixed overall. Yesterday we saw precious metals get hammered. Kind of across the board. I would actually look for a bit of a second day play potentially today, and see if we get some follow through in some of those things. We had some of them that dropped significant technical levels yesterday, so we may be able to see a little bit of a follow through in today's session. Japan really being led lower by the stronger yen, which obviously is hampers their economy and all their exports there. We've got strikes continuing at Anglo Platts and at SAB today. We'll have to see how long that goes on for, but just continuing to watch and see if that's going to escalate at all. We've got a little bit of market data out today. We had building approvals out of Australia, which were weaker than expected. We've got PMI construction of the UK. We've got mortgage apps. We've got the Eurozone announcing interest rates. We've got ADP employment change. And then we've got Department of Energy crude oil inventories, and then Bernanke's going to speak in St. Louis. So this ADP number, I think, is going to be really significant. I think it's what the market's going to kind of focus on that, like it would normally focus on the non-farm payroll number on Fridays. So just keep an eye on this. This is going to be a big number today. All right, let's jump into the maps. All right, first one I want to have a look at is the DAX, and you can see here, let's just jump forward a little bit just to make it a little bit more clear, but we really popped up to test trend, or pull back to test the support on the index here, down here around 85.50, and couldn't really break below it. And then we've managed to punch higher over yesterday's session quite nicely, kind of setting up a bit of a flag pattern here and breaking out to the upside here. I think it's incredible how resilient this market's been specifically. The FTSE index in London's been under quite a bit of pressure, and this one's just been so strong. So just watch this today. I think we're getting a little bit of a pullback here on the open as markets are opening lower kind of across the world. But I think this is just positive action on this index, which has really been a leader in Europe. So I think it's something to keep an eye on going forward. Next one we'll look at is Amplats. Amplats, yesterday we talked about the significant sort of technical level that we're coming down to test and how we were possibly setting up a bit of a flag. Obviously, we failed out the bottom side of support here, and I really think that we could continue to come lower. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing trade down to $380. What's been amazing is that there was when we got this real bump up in commodity prices and some of these precious metals, the gold shares managed to fail quite quickly again, and they're already testing or at lows again. You're seeing these platinums managed to hold up for quite a long time and be a hell of a lot more resilient. But I think that at the end of the day here, these things are also going to really they're going to come under big pressure. They still got the strike issues, they still got cost issues. They're hardly making any money, and I wouldn't be surprised to see these things start to fail somewhat more in line with these gold shares. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing test 200-day moving average closer to $380 and really get a massive correction out of these. Impala's also looking very much the same. If we just back this out a little bit, you can see obviously we've had this huge rally off the bottom, and I just wanted to show we're basically right at trendline support as of yesterday's. We tested 120. I would say if we get below 120, and 120 also lines up nicely here where we kind of topped out and then ended up breaking out, came down and tested it. So this 120 is somewhat significant. That's the level I would mark it. If we can drop 120, I would kind of play this almost as a wedge pattern and maybe be a decent little entry for a short. I know we're almost 10% off the highs, but I mean these things aren't moving in small clips when they move. So if we drop 120 in Impalas, I would think it's an entry to potentially get short. ShopRite, we talked yesterday about our level here at 164. We came down, tested basically right at 164. Managed to hold it really nicely, bounced up to close at 165. This is a big level here, it's 164. I think if we do drop 164, we'll test the lows. So this is one that we need to watch closely over the next few sessions. Let's look at Mr. Price. I actually want to go all the way. I want to go to a 2-year here in Mr. Price to have a look at this, just so you can see the huge up move that we had, obviously, and this consolidation that we've had. I mean, these, the rip down from 145 all the way down to, $112 was pretty vicious. But when you look at it in the big scheme of things, it wasn't such a big move. 145-ish, let's call it 145 and then draw that very straight. 145 is really the level where we double topped in Mr. Price back at the end of last year and the beginning of this year. We're only 3 rand away from that. We've had a nice long move to the upside to get to this level. So it may take a little bit of time, maybe a little bit of effort to break through here. But I mean, this, in a way, this is looking a lot like kind of the Standard Bank 120 level. I think if we get above 145 here in Mr. Price, we could see significant upside here. This is just over a longer period chart. This is just looking like a massive consolidation. I'll maybe draw it a little bit higher here, but it's really just massive consolidation and sort of a 25 to 27 rand range. And I think we could see significant upside to Mr. Price if we break out from here. All right, MTN. I wanted to look at MTN strictly because a lot of people want to short this thing because they're saying that it's kind of double topping here. But I mean, really, when you look at this, I mean, let's just draw it from the close here. We're basically just consolidating right below the previous close, the previous highs, and typically I wouldn't look at this kind of a pattern as a double top pattern. Usually when you double top, you want it to kind of make a strong move up there, and then quite a quick move and a hard pullback off of that level. I mean, this is, to me, this still feels like it could be building. It could be building to move higher. You can see here, I mean, we're still in a nice uptrend, but this consolidation, I mean, we're looking at probably 10 sessions now where we've been north of 194, and really kind of flagging to into this 200 level. So I'd be very careful of it. I mean, if we drop out of the bottom end of this pattern, then I think maybe it's worth a short, but I'd rather be patient and wait for that to try to sell it than try to call this a double top, because it just doesn't feel double topish to me. The last one I want to look at is in London. We'll look at ITV. You can see here making a beautiful little flag setup. It just broke out yesterday in yesterday's session. I think we could have a little bit more room to the upside out of this move. This pullback in the last couple weeks. And that's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot.